Okay, we're gonna create some timers for Game Elements 2, so let me show you how that's done. And it's actually quite easy to do these, and they're kind of fun. So here's my base code. I've just doing the usual things, setting up my basic window so that when I hit play, I can get a nice basic thing here. If you want to pause and write all this down, you can. I don't think I need to go over it right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a timer. These things happen down here, and so I might say timer equals, and built into the simple GUI is create timer. Now create timer takes two arguments. The first is how often do you want the timer to trigger in milliseconds? And the second thing is what function do you want to run every time this goes off? So think of this as an alarm. Maybe I could call it alarm. Another thing I like to call it is tick, like it's the tick of a second hand or something. So most of my timers typically tend to be 1000 milliseconds or 1 second, but depending on what effect you're trying to do, you could do many different things. So for instance, let's just say that we have a function here called alarm. Doesn't really matter what we call it. So my timer is this, and to start my timer, all I have to do, just like the frame, is I just say timer start. So I run this, it's going to give me an error because I didn't make a function. So I def alarm, and basically there it is. Now I told the timer to start, so there's a timer running, but I can't see it anywhere, so that's not very exciting. Like, yay, a timer's running. Excuse me. Now that the timer's running, every time I close my program to work on it, I'm going to have to hit the reset button there. So, um, you know, well, what do I want to do inside like this function? Every time it goes, every time this triggers, something will happen. So just as an example, I could print the word alarm. So now every time this runs, every 1 second, the word alarm is showing up back here. So that's your basic thing that, this can create. Now, you can also create the ability to stop the timer. That's just timer stop. And you can also create, sorry, you can have this change, like, oh, I want the alarm to sound every 200 milliseconds, so now it's going to go a lot more frequently. Or you can make this number bigger. You can even have a second alarm, so these variables are just variables, so whatever we want to call them. This is kind of boring to call them this. I would call them something having to do with what it is I'm trying to actually do. But now I have two timers. Maybe one goes every 200 milliseconds and the other one goes every 500 milliseconds. And I call this one stop. I don't know why. And then here I say, okay, every time that one ticks, I'm going to print stop thief. And then when I run this, I can say, oh, look, it's going to say stop thief, except, oh, no, wait, why does it only say alarm and not stop thief? Because I never started this timer. So I created the timer, I created the function, but without starting the timer, I'm not going to get anywhere. So now I can create the timer to start. So now again, I'm over here, and so every 500, so alarm sounds 2 or 3 times and then stop thief goes, and then alarm goes 2 or 3 times and then stop thief goes. So that's just showing you how those things can interact with each other. Now, just to make things a little bit more interesting, instead of printing something, let me come back over here and do one other example, and that is, what if I kept track of the time? And so I say my time starts at 0, and then in my draw, I say let's go ahead and draw some text, and let's print out the string of time. And let's put that somewhere on the screen at a particular size and with a particular color. Fuchsia. I think that's how you spell fuchsia. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I didn't get it wrong. Now, why didn't it do that? Well, because time isn't doing anything, right? So that's not very exciting. So what if instead of printing out the word alarm, I just say here, hey, there's a global thing called time, and we want time to go up by 1 every 1 second. Why is it not doing it? Maybe fuchsia is not a proper color, and so it doesn't know what color to make it. So let me just try a basic color here, and then, oh, you always have to hit reset. Is it just, yeah, okay, because I just can't spell. That's too bad. Okay, so there, every 1 second, the timer goes up by 1. Remember, it's not magic that this is going every 1 second. It's because I told it to go every 1,000 milliseconds over here, and I can change that. So it doesn't have to go every second. It could go any amount of time that I want it to go. One more quick example. Doing basically the same things, but just to show you that there's another option here, is that I can create a label. Maybe I'll call it my time label. Is it create label or add label? I think it's add label. And then every time, not only do I want the time to go up every time it ticks, but I want my time, oops, too many periods, set text to be this exact thing. So if I did all that right, if I didn't, I'm gonna, yeah, okay. Width must, oh yeah, see, I have to go like that. Plus it, I have to add it, I can't just put a comma. Okay, there, now my time is gonna go over there. So I can make time appear on the side with a label, or I can make time appear as text on my screen, either whatever I want. And that is the basics of timers.